Good evening, I'm Lauren Culver.
And I'm Chad Mira. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. With cooler temperatures and possible snow chances for the weekend, it's hard to believe summer severe weather season is almost here. All week we've been covering severe weather awareness because we know you want to have a safe summer.
And when it comes to dangerous storms, it's tornadoes or hurricanes that people believe kill the most people every year across the globe.
But did you know it's actually flooding and flash flooding that claims the most lives?
KX News meteorologist Robert Sir explains what you should do if you're caught in your car and the water's rising.
We've all been there, stuck in our car during a severe thunderstorm. It's raining so hard you can barely see in front of you. Suddenly you realize the road ahead is underwater, but you're late to your next appointment and you think, it's not that deep, I'll be fine. That is a decision that is not only dangerous, but one that could end up costing you your life. According to the National Weather Service, floods kill more people each year than tornadoes, hurricanes, or lightning. But most people don't take flooding seriously, especially if they are in a car or big SUV. The logic is the car weighs so much it should be able to power through the floodwaters. Unfortunately, that logic claims the lives of hundreds of drivers every year. A third of all flood-related deaths happen in vehicles. In fact, it only takes 12 inches of water to float a car, and 2 feet of water can pick up and carry most SUVs and cars.
It's very easy to underestimate how much water is actually on that roadway that you're trying to drive across. So what might look like just a big puddle could actually be several inches deep, maybe even several feet deep.
Driving through floodwaters is also dangerous. Your car's electrical system can short out, causing potential problems, like your vehicle's airbag suddenly going off. The Weather Service says you should never drive through a flooded road, no matter how shallow you think it might be, and underestimating the depth could sweep your car away.
So it is very dangerous, and especially if your car is really low to the ground, less than a foot of water, just several inches, can actually do some damage.
Lastly, if you come across a barricaded road, don't ever drive around it. Just remember, turn around, don't drown. Reporting for KX News, I'm Robert Sir.
And Robert adds you should also never try to walk through floodwaters, as just 6 inches of rushing water has enough force behind it to sweep you off your feet.
It can be really powerful. Meteorologist Tom Schrader is joining us now with more on the dangers of flash flooding. Tom.
Well, as you've heard, flash flooding kills more people than tornadoes and lightning. Here is a look at the power of flash floods. Notice how the road is gone. Now, if there was water running over that road and you didn't see that the road was gone and you drove into it, it likely would be fatal. Here's a shot of a submerged car. You can see that right there. And look at the power of a flash flood. It took out the road at the bridge. So what do? Well, the first thing is to be weather aware, because the storm could be miles away and you think everything's okay. You might even be on vacation in a mountainous area where even more water could be funneled into the rivers and creeks and maybe the road you're on. It only takes minutes for flash flooding to occur. Now, to stay ahead of the storm, you can listen to a NOAA weather radio. Your KX weather app will have the warnings on them, or you can watch us here on KX. We cover severe weather more comprehensively than anyone else in North Dakota. Another important thing, the difference between flash flooding and aerial flooding.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. Now, let's go ahead and look at a specific example of where flash flooding occurred through the eyes of radar. Now, on the second to last day of July 2016, Ellicott City, Maryland, received 6 inches of rain in 2 hours, as a number of heavy thunderstorms continuously moved over the community during that time. Now, as a result, unfortunately, there were 2 deaths, and you can see Ellicott City there highlighted by that circle, just completely drenched by those training thunderstorms. So, what's the difference between a flash flood and an aerial flood? Well, the big difference is the time, more specifically how quickly water piles up in a particular spot. Remember, Ellicott City received all its water in the span of about 2 hours. Now, this is quite typical of a flash flood. Also typical will be the quick-moving aspect of the water. Now, an aerial flood is a result of a surplus water over the course of days and even weeks. We typically see this type of flood across the northern plains in the spring as snow melts. As the water builds up more slowly, the water will have more of a tendency to move with much less velocity, and so it begins to kind of pond in certain spots. Now, regardless, the old adage does apply, as Robert said, turn around, don't drown. Finally, I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say we've had a great time with our severe weather awareness coverage this week. And please don't forget to be safe out there this summer and keep our tips in mind. Chad, Lauren?
Yeah, thanks, Dave.